Hello, everyone. Welcome. I wouldn't expect in a Saturday afternoon we will have still so many people here in the room. It means there is still so much interest, and especially for our panel, which I think it's, well, perhaps the best you've seen so far. It's my great pleasure to invite the panelists. I will start with Donjeta Sahatçiu from Rrota. Arta Shehu-Zajmi from Labbox and J-Coders. Zana Tabaku from Updeck. Zana Budima, I forgot which company you are now. SQA Consulting, Southeast Europe. Okay, as you can see, I have a very interesting jacket because I thought, being in the middle of four very successful ladies, I have to stand out somehow, and this was the only way I could do it. So I hope at least to some extent, I made it through. Thank you so much. We will start maybe from short introductions. And a perspective on our topic today. And we're talking about an extremely important topic about women entrepreneurship. Although in our panel we have very distinguished leaders of the industry, of the tech industry, we will not focus only on tech. We will go beyond that because I think it's important to understand that women entrepreneurship is an important topic in general, not just focusing on tech today. We'll start perhaps with Donjeta, since she's also our chairman of the board of STIC.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thanks everyone for coming and staying in. I hope you enjoy this panel. It's interesting, and I'm so happy that you're moderating it and you're having us all here. Apart from being president of the board at STIC, you've heard me opening the event yesterday. I am the partner and CEO at Rrota for the past 10 years. I work at Rrota with a group of designers and developers that are at their best. Apart from that, I'm also involved in other organizations with the idea and the goal to help put as much women as possible in this community and also share stories, share challenges, share opportunities, and help them get the information they need in order to be as close as possible to the community and go on from there. I'm involved also a bit in education, so I'm part of the board at RIT Kosovo, returning as an alumna. My goal there was now at the UK RIT Kosovo, we have the engineering program. So my main goal there was, as an alumna, to make sure that there is a new program for all the new generations coming in and wanting to study engineering. And then I'm also involved at Venture UP, which is an incubator within the University of Pristina. I am the board chair as well, but I also helped it build for the last 4 years. And our goal there was to enable students from the University of Pristina to get the necessary skills, the necessary information to help them monetize the ideas they might have, along with a whole spectrum of partners. At BCC, I'm also involved as a consultant, and there I've had a chance to work closely with mentorship of a wide group of women entrepreneurs around Kosovo, and women entrepreneurs that have no idea what tech world is. They are in, so from different places in Kosovo and different ages. They are well established in their families, in their communities, from the cities they come from, and they have these whole range of ideas that have nothing to do with tech And our goal was always to help them understand the benefits of being involved in the tech community and how that can help them grow as a business. And of course, then all together have a greater impact. My perspective on the impact we were discussing in details now, but I think that from this position, I would like to be as sincere as possible, as transparent as possible in sharing our stories and telling what's possible, and telling that you have time, even if you haven't been an engineer, because from all the other 3 colleagues here that are engineers, I'm not an engineer. I come from the business education background, but yet again, in the last 10 years, I'm a part of a tech agency and part of the tech community. So regardless of whether you are studying or you're thinking of studying it, they are, at some point in time in your future, in your business, you will most definitely be connected to the tech world. And it's crucial for you to be open to understand that from the perspective of your business and how you can grow.
Thank you so much, Donjeta. I mean, I'm so glad to have these women here today with us, inspiring, and I'm also even more glad to see that I think in the audience we have now around 50%, which I think shows the long way we've come. But obviously, it's still a long way to go that we have ahead of us. Arta, let's learn a little bit about you, and then what's your perspective in terms of as a woman in entrepreneurship?
Thank you, Alejtin. It's really a pleasure to have the opportunity to discuss this topic today in the panel. First of all, because I guess we all experience it in some way, and I think it's a shared interest to see women be successful in our communities in general. And discussing this shared interest of all of ours, I really hope to add value to this discussion. I'm an engineer by background. I worked for 8 years for a bank. After that, I had three kids. And my children have inspired me to start a business. I initially started by creating a coding academy here in Kosovo, J-Coders Academy. That was my first entry to entrepreneurship, and I kind of fell in love with being able to create companies and bring people together towards common goals and offering new services where, in my case, was lacking from the public educational system here in Kosovo. I was very proud to see many kids go through our training programs and gaining the skills in technology by kind of shifting their mindset from being users of technology to actually creators. They learned how to code, how to design, how to build games and applications. And from the beginning, even though a little bit intuitively, I would say, my team ended up being a team that at all points, we had over 70% of women hired in J-Coders. I must say this has been a natural selection, but I'm really proud to see that happen and contribute to that way. The topic of inspiring more girls has then become increasingly more important for us. And we've put special programs within the academy to bring and raise interest of girls towards tech. As I got kind of deeper into the topic, the perspective that I would like to share with you today is that I think there are many factors that contribute to the reasons why girls and women do not enter tech initially and then entrepreneurship as a second stage, I would say. The factors would include social and economic status. A lot of families do not have the opportunity to maybe invest in all of their children, and then they naturally choose the boys. Girls are, I would say, a little bit more, they want to be more compliant to what their families are teaching them, and then breaking the barriers of doing something that they didn't see happen in their families a little bit harder. These are some of the reasons where we kind of see also a lack of encouragement, a lack of support, a lack of opportunity to be involved in these fields. And I think that overall these are resulting in numbers where we continuously see a deficiency of girls and women being involved in these kind of jobs. I think there's been a lot of work done by a lot of organizations to try to tackle this important topic, but at the core of what we all have to do is, I guess, continue to speak, continue to emphasize the importance, and continue to create new opportunities that will help girls and women understand this importance. Yeah.
Thank you, Arta. Zana, Tabaku. We have two zonas. I mean, we were thinking if we had three, it would be even more interesting.
What about 4?
That would be
Okay. So they all know me. No, I've been typical answer. So yeah, I was in the panel in the morning. That's why I'm saying they all know me. So I am Zana Tabaku. I am a co-founder and CEO of Updeck. It's a software development company. I started in my tech career. I was studying something else and then dropped out and went to study programming. After 4 years working in a company in Kosovo, I founded my own company. Since then, I've been mentoring. I've been doing a lot of mentoring because back then, when I started the company 12 years ago, there were so less women in IT. And now I'm glad to see that the percentage is really higher. And I'm glad also to say that also in Updeck there is 40% of staff are women. So I'm rooting for women to go more in ICT field and entrepreneurship. And what I've been doing these past few years, I've been working with COS-ICT and with STIC in encouraging and mentoring women to pursue ICT career. I also worked in a project. We have a project together with Spend and Eldita, Junior Geeks project. That's a project for youth, and it's also a project for youth to guide them to go in ICT careers. Besides that, we also have a module there, entrepreneurship. We teach also entrepreneurship, which Zana is mentor of that topic. And we've been trying to mentor kids from youth how to do the entrepreneurship. So they all started, Zana can talk more about that in her time. So we had 15 years. They started their own fiction company and they started selling products. So it was an activity within Junior Geeks, and it was really inspiring for all young children. And especially women, because also in Junior Geeks participation, there were percentages like 50-50, if I'm not wrong. So this is, yeah.
Very modest, very modest.
Well, thank you for the introduction, Zana, and for all of your perspectives on what you said, and for, of course, inviting me to this. I will give a different perspective on this topic. I will try to focus on the role of mentoring, the role of having social networks, the role of networking in this entire entrepreneurship story. So for those of you, you know Zana, but for those of you who don't know me, my name is Zana Budima. I am a passionate executive. I'm a digital transformation expert, and I lead an amazing team of people for SK Consulting Southeast Europe. It's a consultancy company, and we specialize in digital transformation and process automation, and of course, product development. My background is, academic background is in engineering and in management, and with this mixed with 15 years of experience in different roles in profit and non-for-profit sector has given me a unique perspective to teach, support, and create trainings for youth that are, and people who want to join this entrepreneurial story, and in general just want to make their objectives and their goals real. So this is in brief. We will have more discussion looking forward.
But I want to stay with you, Zana,
Okay.
if I may, with a kind of a dummy question, as we always start these. I mean, except for Ermal, who's on the smart side. You know, although we have seen, especially in tech, we have seen an improvement in a sense, there were more women involved, but in general, there's still much less women involved in entrepreneurship in general, unfortunately, than men. Why? I mean, what are some of the, I would say, obstacles and challenges that we still face?
Yeah, well, to answer this, I'll start maybe with just an overview of the market in general. So the women participation in the Kosovo market is quite low. From the 79% that are inactive, and from the percentages that is active, around 36% is unemployed. So this is a general situation. Now let's take it on the ICT sector. Women represent around 25% of the workforce in the ICT sector. And these positions are usually in more of supporting roles, if you will, so HR, recruitment, admin, finance, and well, a number of those is also in project management and quality assurance. So a lesser percentage of that is actual engineers that do work in product development and in teams, and even a lesser percentage is in decision-making and C-level positions. So this is how the market is currently. And if the question is why, Arta mentioned that there are a lot of economic, technological, political factors that impact this. I'm just going to mention some that I think are worth mentioning. We have the lack of information, and we've discussed this before joining the panel here. It's lack of information, gender analysis that would ultimately feed to policy creation. And this, of course, will ultimately aid or support gender budgeting, so creating budgets that have gender perspective to that. So this is one. The next one is, again, maybe lack of funding, or if there is funding, there is a disproportion of how that funding is dispersed or how it's distributed. We have lack of information in the sense of this sector is tend to be seen as male-dominated. So we need to change this idea that this is a male-dominated industry. There's nothing that stops women from entering. It's not labor-intensive, it's skills-intensive and knowledge-intensive, which is something that women excel at. So, and of course, there are a lot other factors like biases and support from families. Just an interesting statistic that I found recently is 44% of women feel that they're not encouraged or supported to enter this field. And this is, I mean, this, if you consider it in this, how the women of role, how women are perceived as the caregivers inside the family, that just adds to this. So this is what I think are the most prominent, maybe, reasons why I think Donjeta wants to.
What I wanted to add is that we should be realistic. So I completely agree with everything. Just to add to that is that this situation is very similar to in the regional perspective. It's very similar in Europe. It's very similar in the States. I had chances to meet a lot of course, businesses from my position at Rrota, and they were all surprised to see a woman leading a tech company. So even German companies, Swiss companies, don't have enough women engineers or women in general leading teams in the tech. It's relatively new in that sense, and I think what we are all trying to do here and inspiring is that by being role models, and just not role models for being successful, because we've all here had a lot of failures before being here, and it's okay to fail and it's okay to be wrong, and just to understand the impact of it, but still to not lose the courage and to be discouraged and to let it there and not continue further. I think what just and I recall also hearing in the past entrepreneurship panel that mentioned that they had support from their family in terms of their family heritage, so giving access to finance, which is still also a statistic that we are a society in transition still, and I hope we will not be for long in transition. Maybe our children, nephews, are going to have a different ecosystem here, but still that is important, because access to finance is one of the top things that discourages women out there in Kosovo to kind of just pursue their dream or the idea they have, because they don't have enough financial support from their family, they don't have any heritage they can take on, and then they need to go to the banks. So we're missing an address where they can go and can ask these kinds of questions. Of course, there are a lot of initiatives around that help get this information through, but we still need to improve in terms of propagating and in terms of disseminating the information that it's there, so that all these interested women know.
Thank you so much. Very, very interesting perspectives. And I think if we're to really change things, we have to plant the seeds early on. And Zana, together with Eldita and Spend, they've been running a very, very interesting, inspiring project I would call Junior Geeks. And I wanted to know a little bit your perspective, working with those young people, and especially young women, young girls. What do you see as a challenge from their perspective? I mean, how can we make them think entrepreneurship as a career choice, as well as tech and engineering? I mean, you met them, you met so many of them, you met so many parents as well, I think. So just wanted to see what is their perspective and what is going on there.
Junior Geeks, I think the youth, because Junior Geeks targets youth from 15 to 18, high schoolers. So I see a different youth from what I've seen 10 years ago. So they have a different mindset. They are more prone to these careers because they know the importance of technology. They just don't have access to information. They don't have access to network to know what's out there, what's in the universities, what universities offer. Because I mean, when you're young, when you're 16, you don't care much about to go and read everything. So you have to serve it to them. You have to open their eyes and tell them that this is the future for you and this is future for everybody. Also in the parent side, it was really interesting because we got so many comments from parents, from Junior Geeks participants, and they were really all happy. They said that the program had a really good impact in their life, in their everyday life, not just the career choice, because there was socialization between them. They met with different municipalities, because I think this also we have this division because everything is happening in Pristina, and less initiatives are taken in other parts of Kosovo, which is bad. That's why we included 9 municipalities in Junior Geeks, so we can include everyone.
So into this point, I want to go back to Donjeta, if I may. What is offered? So what is it now out there that women, potential, or let's say prospective women entrepreneurs can benefit from?
There are a lot of initiatives, as I mentioned, that the main goal precisely is promoting opportunities for women entrepreneurs, helping them understand the challenges and the opportunities, and be part of these network groups. But what has been missing is a more structured or organized group that is an address, serves an address for this kind of exactly women entrepreneurship. We have a lot of separate initiatives going on, but they lack communication with each other, and I think my call here will be we need to have a more centralized approach to it. We need to have a more centralized approach to it from the government, from the organization, from the community, from the business sectors, etc. So we don't have a database right now. We don't know how many women have been trained all together for a specific skill. We don't know how many women, so for the last 10 years, what are the results of that? We can see it, so somebody that has information sees it, and someone that doesn't even have access to it, and they don't even know that somebody like you did that maybe 2 years ago. So we need to centralize all of this in an address. And this is one of the initiatives that we have undertaken. So we have formed a cluster, which is Women in Tech Kosovo. It's still in a very, very early stage. So we don't have yet a website and the statute and everything else, but we're working on analysis in the background so that we create this cluster properly as a structure. Then, of course, it's Women in STEM Kosovo, another cluster that is created. Then it's Women in Business. So all of these then have to have a centralized point so that women out there can have an address to it.
Absolutely, because what I've heard as well and what we read recently is that especially post-pandemic, there has been so many initiatives, mostly from civil society organizations, empowering women entrepreneurs. There is a bit more out there. However, there is still an asymmetry of information and lack of information. I think that the women don't always, people in general don't always find, because it's very decentralized. Now, Arta is growing a global business in education from Kosovo, as a woman from Kosovo. It's a very interesting and inspiring case. And I'm sure it's not so easy, and it hasn't been so easy so far, especially in terms of fundraising. You know, to launch, to have a successful global business, you need lots of money, because you need to tackle the globe. So I'm interested, what have been the challenges as a woman entrepreneur from Kosovo launching this with focus on the fundraising side? Because I think a lot of people will be interested to know about that.
Thank you, Alejtin. As I shared previously, I started with J-Coders, but my entrepreneurial journey continued with founding Labbox. Labbox is a company that develops hardware products to inspire children for engineering. We've built a library of electronics, hardware, that we produce, we have IP rights on, and we're exporting basically to the region. Because of the nature of the business, that is a hardware business, and it requires the production processes to be, it is a really capital-intensive process. We understood this in the beginning, and because of that, part of the company creation is an intense process that we run for fundraising. We successfully raised VC capital from South Central Ventures, then been accelerated by Techstars in Berlin, and this has allowed us to build the network, the proper network, and understand the proper fundraising process to run in order to get our company successfully funded. I was in this front and related to the topic of this panel, I was surprised to find out that from all the capital that goes into startups in Europe, only 2% goes to women-led companies. This means that not only the struggles of being a company from Kosovo were added to my equation, it was also the fact that a lot of VC funds were investing in male-led companies. The reason for this is, after having a lot of conversation, is that VC funds create a stereotype of how the founders that have led successful companies look like and what are their personality traits. And when they get pitched by women, women have a different nature on the way that they do the pitch, and therefore there has been a mismatch, or let's say a natural selection based on previous experiences. And I think this, in an interesting way, is burdening a lot of a lot of women-led companies to break that stereotype and create enough stories so VC funds can actually look into women-led companies and start investing more. I've seen that also because of the pain of this. Some women have taken the initiative to create their own funds, and we are seeing new VC funds specifically on the theme of women being brought to the European stage of VC investments. I would expect that the situation is a little bit better in the US, but I don't have the network to share today with you. So
you want to
maybe just to what I really want to add is, I know that we're talking today from a women's perspective, but the truth is that women overall, also in more developed countries, have the statistical struggle as we have here. From what Zana shared before in terms of numbers, we have a 15%, was it? 15% of women participation in ICT jobs, and if I compare that to the global statistics, we have a 20% participation on a global level. I would say that Kosovo does a really good job. And I think that's something to take inspiration on.
Absolutely. And just wanted to add that Labbox is founded by Arta and co-founded by Fiona.
Yes.
So it's all women startup, and I would like one applause for that as an inspiration for us
Thank
all.
you. Fiona?
So with that, I'll go to my final question. We've heard some really inspirational stories and some statistics and what is out there. But I want to ask these very successful women entrepreneurs and leaders here, what are you doing? How are you impacting the ecosystem? So what are you doing to actually improve the women in entrepreneurship ecosystem in Kosovo and perhaps beyond? I will start with Zana Budima.
Okay. Well, I've taken this question maybe a little bit closer to heart. So I analyzed the behaviors. Arta mentioned that there are differences in how you communicate as a woman in business and how you pitch, and what are some of the traits that we as women need to perhaps improve on. And I've designed trainings relating these. So these are trainings for negotiation, communication, sales, and are taking these trainings on the road. So I've had these trainings done for a lot of women who are women entrepreneurs and women who are looking to join the ICT sector. So this is one. I believe that it's very important to create social networks, a network of people that you will not only learn from, but that are better than you technically in business, so that you can reach out to them and reach your goals by having this support network. And later on, these people can also be your partners in whatever, in your growth path. So mentoring, training, I have one-on-one sessions with women entrepreneurs, and in general, just talk about it. So in general, just talk about the challenges that we're facing, that it's okay to fail, that it's okay to consider that you are in this journey, but you're not alone. So for me, that was important. So that's what I'm doing personally.
That's a very nice one. You're in this journey, but not alone. Arta?
I mentioned it before. We've had the opportunity to hire a lot of people while we were building the companies, me and Fiona, 70% of women being part of our staff. A focus on the recruitment of students, to have a gender balance there, as well as specific programs to include girls and inspire them. I guess these are activities that have also inspired my companies. I work with children. I try to help them get inspired, demystify engineering for them, help them get into this field and open new opportunities through education. So in this perspective, we're doing, I would say, a lot of specific initiatives to bring on girls, on board. I would add to what also Donjeta shared with the audience a little bit before, something that this topic is, am I doing this? Okay. We meet and we talk a lot about this topic in our individual initiatives, and I'm really happy to share that we sat down and we founded, all of us here and many more, the Women in Tech cluster that we're hoping to provide a more serious and structured initiative to bring on board and create these opportunities that we talk about to other girls and women.
What am I doing? I am trying to be there. I'm trying to be approachable. I'm trying to be available. And I'm trying to be an enabler. This has been my journey for the last 10, 12 years that I'm in the sector. And I think I'm going to continue to do that because the way I get my energy from, or what makes my day, is when I see other people grow around me, and especially women. And I've witnessed this in Rrota. Although leadership, it's quite a lonely place. It can get lonely leading and having the mission and the strategy and dealing with the challenges of actually working with the resources and the workforce ethics we have and everything else, and trying to make it out there. And what makes my day always is just seeing people I've had the position to give an opportunity to as an intern. Meeting different young girls then, and now women, and just allowing them to show themselves, giving them an opportunity to try it, even if they don't like it, then change the path. But I think it's crucial for us to give as much opportunity as it's possible, so that as more women and more girls in ICT can try it, can see it what it is, can understand what it takes, and then just decide for themselves if that's what they want to do, and just allow the platform for that. So I'm going to continue being an enabler and just being there, also with this Women in Tech initiative and other women in STEM and women in business and everything out there. I try to be open and just to give an input there. I think this is the mission we have for being here.
Thank you. Yeah, very inspiring. Thank you, Donjeta. And Zana, what are you doing, but with a focus on Women in Tech cluster? Because I know that all four of you are involved, and I believe you're the elected chair of this, so I would like to
I'm
know.
also the president.
Yes.
Yeah,
Secretary State, of course.
Great. Yeah, that's why. So, I was lucky to be elected the president of Women IT cluster. So the idea of Women IT cluster is to promote diversity, to engage more women in tech, in leadership, to exchange our experiences with them. So they as Donjeta mentioned, so they have a door. So they have an address. So when they have an idea, when they have a question, they can always come to us. Besides that, also Donjeta mentioned the other regional women in STEM, and now we're trying all these initiatives to put them back, to put them all together, so we can have more impact in women all around Kosovo.
Thank you so much, Zana. And with this, we conclude our panel, for sure the best, but there are so many other things that are coming up at KOS ICT which are worth being here. Thank you so much.